It also is banning liquor from Republican-led red states. Premier David Eby joins us now. Mr. Eby, you just heard the vice president echo what the president has said, that Canada and Mexico have been taking advantage of the United States, in their words. Your response?
Yeah, it's hard to hear, John. For so many Canadians, we grew up and we've only known one relationship with the United States. We've got friends, we've got family members. We've had an incredible relationship. We learned about the Canada arm on U.S. shuttles going up. To hear that the perspective is that we've been taking advantage of the Americans is bizarre. We provide what America needs to grow. We provide metals, minerals, lumber, energy. We're really good partners. We fight around the world to protect democracy. Americans are our friends. We really hope that the president takes this opportunity to revisit this decision and focus on our shared concerns on China, on transnational organized crime. These are areas where we can do a lot of work together.
It is perhaps understandable that your country might retaliate with tariffs of its own, but you in particular have suggested that you want this red state boycott, if you will, boycotting goods from red states in America. President Trump didn't single out British Columbia, for instance. He assigned tariffs on all of Canada. So why go after red states?
Oh, we understand here in Canada, and I certainly understand here in British Columbia, we're tiny compared to the United States. You guys are huge. When an action like this is taken against our country, we have to fight smarter. And when we target specifically the decision makers that are supporting this trade action against Canada, despite our shared history, despite our many ties, despite the fact that businesses on both sides and consumers, families on both sides rely on the low prices that our relationship brings, we have to take action. We don't want this fight. We didn't sign up for this. In fact, I want to work with the president on fighting transnational organized crime. Let's get back to that. Let's get back to our shared relationship that delivers affordable prices for families. Your house prices are going to go up. Your fuel prices are going to go up. Your electricity prices are going to go up. Your grocery prices. Pasta is made out of Canadian.
And thank you very much for having me. What we have been doing since December, since the president, even before the president took office and was expressing concerns around the northern border, illegal migration and fentanyl, we have been in discussions with his team on that. And just to put this into context, obviously these are important issues. They're important to Canada. They're important to the United States. But Canada is not a source of fentanyl into the U.S. Less than 0.5% of what the fentanyl that has been seized in the U.S. has come from Canada, and less than 1% of the people who come into the United States illegally come from the northern border. So it's a very small issue. That being said, important. And as I say, border security is important on both sides of the border. We only want people in our country who have the legal right to be there as well, and we certainly don't want drug trafficking into our country. So we have been in discussion with the Trump team since December about the president's concerns, and we acted on those concerns. We have invested 1.3 billion Canadian dollars, which is about $1 billion US dollars, in buying new equipment, getting new infrastructure, new technology for the border, and then new partnerships with the U.S. and with the Trump administration to root out organized crime and fentanyl. And we're already seeing results. We had, since about 4 months ago, we've had an 89% drop in irregular, illegal migration from Canada into the United States. And remember, again, it's an 89% drop from less than 1% of your total flows. So lots of success, lots of results already, lots of new partnerships that have already started. Had a really good, important exchange with Tom Homan, the border czar, on Friday, and senior members of his team walking through plans that we can do together. We've got a Canadian team and a team from the White House going to China to talk to them about precursors to really get at that problem. So in that sense, I don't know if I'd call those negotiations, because really it's more of a collaboration. But that's been ongoing for a while now.
You mentioned December was the start. Do you know if the president, either prior to his inauguration 2 weeks ago now or since, has been involved directly in the talks?
So the president has talked to our prime minister about this, and my understanding is that he has been briefed on it. That's what I've been told on the plan and on the results that have already been achieved.
Okay. And yet the tariffs go into effect on Tuesday. Let me mention what J.D. Vance, our vice president, posted just a short time ago. Here's the quote. Spare me the sob story about how Canada is our best friend. I love Canada and have many Canadian friends, but is the government meeting their NATO target for military spending? Are they stopping the flow of drugs into our country? I'm sick of being taken advantage of. You've just very eloquently shared the stats about particularly drugs coming into the country from Canada, and they less than 1% in terms of fentanyl crossing your border into ours. But your reaction to this, and what is the United States telling you it would take to stop the tariffs from going into effect on Tuesday? Is there a chance that would happen?
I mean, we're being told that these tariffs are being put into place because of the border, because of fentanyl and because of irregular illegal migration. And as I say, we have really leaned into that. We have expended a lot of money to put more boots on the ground, to buy more equipment, to enhance our partnership with U.S. law enforcement and border enforcement. And we have asked, what more would you like us to do? Is there more that you need? Is there something missing here? And, you know, there's nothing that has come back as an additional ask. So we're focusing on what is being asked in relation to this specific action. And as I say, I feel that we have done a lot where we think that we're obviously demonstrating results already in terms of the concern that the president has raised. But if there's more, let's talk about it. But to date, there hasn't been more that's been put on the table in this particular, on this particular topic.
And yet that quote that I read you from our vice president, how do you interpret the tone of that? There were a couple of others.
I have no idea, but I don't have any positive thoughts when it comes down to it. I appreciate that you played the clip of Jamie Raskin, and as you know, Congressman Raskin asked, why do you need access? I mean, here it is. I'm a wholly, fully elected member of Congress. I don't have that kind of access. So when you start talking about who should have access to literally the system that controls approximately $6 trillion of our dollars, I don't really understand, because the people that worked in those positions could only distribute money per the law. So why is it that the DOJ committee would have to have access? And that's not the place that you go to look for cuts. You look at our budget, which it is Congress that has the power of the purse. You look at our budget, you help the president come up with his proposed budget, and then the House and the Senate will decide what we send to his desk, and he gets to decide whether or not he signs it into law. He should not have access to this. And with people already having angst about Elon Musk and the things that he does as it relates to technology, this is not instilling anything more than another layer of fear, especially since normally when you are going to be in a position like that, you have to go through security clearances. And let me tell you, some people think security clearances are all about whether or not you have a warrant or not. No, they look at whether or not you have some sort of divided interest. They look at whether or not you have good credit. They look at so many other things. And we're talking about someone who's unelected, unvetted, and definitely unconfirmed, that is now literally sitting atop our $6 trillion, and we don't know what it is that he's doing, and we honestly don't know what role he has.
Look, you have well articulated some of the bad thoughts as you described them at the top here. The question is, does Musk's team now have the power to actually disrupt federal payments?
In my opinion, they do, but I honestly don't know. We still don't know really what DOJ is in the first place. I mean, listen, think about it like this, Alex. You know, everyone hates Congress. That's just what it is, right? But as a sitting member of Congress, I mean, I had to give up my ability to practice law. I am prevented from being able to practice law to prevent potentially somebody dropping a load of cash on me and I do something that is nefarious as one of 435. And now we're talking about a guy who literally gets government contracts from the United States and has not had to divest, has not had to, I mean, it is really awful. And I know right now people are asking whether or not their IRS refund checks are going to be affected. We don't know if this is more DEI. Are you you going to say if it's somebody that's a person of color, then for some reason, whatever they paid in to the federal government, they're not allowed to get it back? Like, we don't know, but there is no reason for any political appointee, if you can even call him that, to have